Two guys, same job, same salary, same age. They walk into the same Toyota dealership on the same Saturday morning. One of them leases a brand new Camry. The other one finances the exact same car with a loan. Both drive home that day. 20 years later, one of them is $200,000 richer than the other, and he paid more in his very first payment. Same income their whole lives, same starting line, $200,000 apart because of one decision made in 20 minutes. Hi, I'm Mark. On this channel, I take one money decision at a time and walk through what the numbers actually look like over a lifetime. Today we're running the full math on leasing versus buying, but not in the way you've probably heard before. Because the leasing versus buying conversation is missing something most people never notice, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. If you're about to make this decision or you're already in a deal you're not sure about, stick around. This is going to save you a lot of money. I'll tell you up front, I leased my first car at 24, 3 years, $9,000 in payments, handed the keys back, owned nothing. I wish somebody had shown me what I'm about to show you. So let's start with something that sounds strange. Leasing a car isn't really a financial decision. It's something else entirely. And once you understand what it actually is, the whole question of lease or buy looks completely different. Leasing a car isn't a financial product. It's a subscription. You don't own anything. You pay a monthly fee. When you stop paying, the thing goes away. Sound familiar? It's Netflix. It's Spotify. It's your iPhone upgrade plan. It's every X as a service you've signed up for in the last 10 years. The auto industry figured something out about 20 years ago. People hate big one-time payments, but barely notice recurring small ones. So they reframe the entire business. Instead of selling you a car once every 15 years, they sell you access to a car every 30 days for the rest of your life. At industry conferences, executives openly call this the subscription model. It's not a conspiracy, it's a stated strategy. Now, imagine someone tried to sell you a refrigerator subscription, $80 a month, forever, and you never own the fridge. You'd laugh in their face. Or a washing machine subscription, $50 a month for the rest of your life. At the end you have nothing. You'd never sign that. Because the moment you see it written out, it's obviously a terrible deal. But that's exactly what a lease is. The same structure, the same forever, just dressed up in chrome and a new car smell. The reason it works on people isn't because they're stupid. It's because of something your brain does without asking your permission. Let me show you. There's a concept in behavioral economics called the framing effect, first documented by Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel-winning psychologist. The idea is simple. Your brain reacts completely differently to the same information depending on how it's presented to you. Try this. If I told you a car cost $163,000 over a lifetime, you'd say, absolutely not, that's insane. Now I say, $340 a month, same total money, same dollars leaving your account, and suddenly you're thinking, yeah, that's manageable. Same money, two different reactions. Your brain doesn't multiply 340 by 480 months. It sees the small number and stops. Dealers know this. That's why every ad you see is $340 a month. Never $20,400 over the life of the lease. Never $163,000 if you do this for the rest of your life. Just the small, easy monthly number. And it's not your fault you sign. It's how human cognition works. You're not being stupid. You're being predictable. But once you know the trick, you can step around it. The fix is dead simple. Always multiply the monthly payment by the years you'll actually be doing this. $340 a month for 40 years of adult driving life is $163,000. That's the real number. That's the actual price tag. Look at it that way once, and you can never look at a lease the same way again. Which brings us to what's actually inside that monthly payment. Let me tell you about a guy named Tom. I met him at a party last year. He'd just returned a leased BMW. He thought he was free. He'd made every payment. The lease was over. He pulled into the dealership lot expecting to drop the keys and walk away. Then they handed him a bill, $6,000. First was the disposition fee, $450, the dealer's charge for accepting the car back. He didn't remember signing anything about that. It was on page 11 of the contract, right next to the acquisition fee he paid 3 years earlier, $800 he didn't remember signing for either. Then mileage. He'd driven about 6,000 miles over the lease limit. At 25 cents a mile, that was $1,500. Then, the excessive wear inspection. A small dent on the rear bumper, $600. A scuff on a wheel, $300. A slightly worn driver's seat, $800. Then, the sales tax. He'd been paying tax on every monthly payment for 3 years, and when he asked about buying the car out at the end, they wanted tax again on the residual. $6,000 for the privilege of returning a car he never owned. And here's the thing, he didn't do anything wrong. He drove normally. The dent was from a shopping cart in a parking lot. The wear was from sitting in a driver's seat. None of it was unusual. Tom told me he did the math that night on his phone. The $320 a month lease he signed 3 years earlier had actually cost him closer to $420 a month, all in. Every cheaper monthly payment works the same way. The cost doesn't disappear. It just hides somewhere you weren't looking when you signed. Now stop, because I'm about to show you the exact moment when buying instead of leasing pays off. And it's not where you think it is. If you stop watching here, you're going to miss the part that actually decides whether this video changes anything for you. So stick with me. Let me show you 2 moments, 2 different kitchen tables, 2 different lives, closer than you'd think. First moment, Chris is at his kitchen table on a Tuesday night, 5 years after he signed his car loan. He opens his banking app like he does every Tuesday. He's looking for the auto debit, the car payment that pulls $520 every month. It's not there. For a second, he thinks his bank broke. Then it hits him. There's nothing to debit anymore. The loan is paid off. The car is his. That moment, sitting at a kitchen table, realizing nobody owns a piece of your car except you, most people never get to feel it. Now, jump forward 15 years. Same kind of kitchen table, same Tuesday night, different guy. Daniel is sitting there with paperwork in front of him. He's about to sign his 6th lease, new Camry, $380 a month this time. He doesn't realize 15 years have passed since the first one. The kitchen looks the same. The pen looks the same. The signature looks the same. Same Tuesday night, 15 years apart. For Daniel, time hasn't moved. He's been making the same choice on autopilot. And here's the part nobody wants to face. The difference between Chris's Tuesday and Daniel's Tuesday isn't intelligence, income, or luck. It's one decision made on a Saturday morning 20 years ago. Chris chose the harder payment up front. Daniel chose the easier one. That single choice quietly decided whether time moved forward in their financial lives or just looped in place. So if leasing is such a worse deal, why do dealers push it so hard? Why is half the showroom built around it? Imagine you could hear the conversation in the back office after you sign. Here's roughly what they're actually saying to each other. Got another one on a 3-year lease today. That's commission now. Disposition fee in 2028, and he'll be back to sign another one. Easy 3 sales out of 1 customer. Because here's how the math works for them. A lease customer is worth roughly 3 to 4 times more to a dealership than a buyer. Same person, same income, same car. 3 to 4 times more profit just because of how the deal was structured. And it's not just the dealer. When you lease a Toyota, your odds of leasing another Toyota next time are around 80%. When you buy a Toyota, your odds of buying another Toyota next time drop to about 30%. Buyers shop around, leasers come back, a lease locks you in. You're not just a customer anymore, you're a recurring customer, the dream of every business on earth. Then there's the bank. The bank loves leases because they are effectively guaranteed loans. The car is collateral. If you stop paying, they take it back. Zero risk. And the insurance company. Lease contracts almost always require higher coverage insurance than a regular owner would carry. That's extra margin too. 4 different companies make money off your one decision every month for the rest of your driving life. There's a phrase that gets passed around in the auto industry. I don't know who said it first. We don't sell cars, we sell payments. Once you understand that, the whole thing makes sense. The smiles, the friendly options, the great deal today. None of it was ever about the car. You're not their customer in that ecosystem, you're their revenue stream. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I've heard these objections in every car video comment section. But I heard leasing is great for taxes. If you're self-employed, yes, you can write off part of the lease, about $1,500 a year on average. But you're paying $7,000 a year in lease costs to save $1,500 in taxes. That's not a tax strategy. That's a bad math problem. But I want a new car every 3 years. That's fine, but be honest with yourself. That's an emotional preference, not a financial argument. A new car smell every 3 years for the rest of your driving life costs about $200,000 in lost wealth. If it's worth that to you, lease away. But leasing covers all the maintenance that's already baked into your payment. You're not getting it for free. You're prepaying it at a markup, about 30% more than an independent mechanic. But what if my situation is different? Maybe it is. Let's talk about that, because there actually are 5 cases where leasing is the right call. Stay with me. I told you at the beginning I'd be straight with you. So here are the 5 real situations where leasing actually wins. First, your employer reimburses your car. Either pays the lease directly or covers mileage at a high rate. You're driving on someone else's money. Lease it. Second, you're self-employed, and you can fully write off the lease as a business expense. Talk to an accountant, but the math can favor leasing. Third, your job genuinely requires a current model car. Real estate brokers showing million-dollar listings, sales executives meeting clients. There's real return on the image. Fourth, you genuinely cannot deal with maintenance. Some people just hate it. Peace of mind has a price, and if that's worth it to you, lease. Fifth, electric vehicles, where the technology is changing fast. A 3-year-old EV might be technologically outdated. Leasing lets you upgrade as battery tech improves. But notice, none of these reasons are leasing is cheaper, because it never is. These are situations where leasing is worth paying extra for. Different argument entirely. If you're not in one of those 5 situations, the math is brutally clear. And now, I'll show you exactly what that math looks like. Let's go back to Daniel and Chris. Same Saturday morning, 20 years ago, same Toyota dealership. Quick reminder of who these guys are. Daniel works in marketing, posts photos of his cars on Instagram, loves that new car feeling. Chris, high school physics teacher, drives the same car until it dies, keeps an oil change log in his glove box like it's evidence in a court case. 20 years later, Daniel has gone through 6 leases. Average lease over those 20 years, about $22,000 each in total payments and fees. 6 leases at 22 grand average is about $130,000 over 20 years. $130,000, and on year 20, Daniel owns nothing. His current lease has 14 months left. Then he hands the keys back and starts over again. Chris, over the same 20 years, bought 2 cars. First Camry, financed for 5 years, about $35,000 all in. Drove it for 14 years, paid $2,500 for a transmission rebuild in year 11, junked it for scrap in year 14. Then, he bought a slightly used Camry for $20,000 cash. Drove that one for the remaining 6 years, still drives it. Chris's total spending on cars over 20 years, about $58,000, less than half of what Daniel spent. But here's the thing. Chris also did something else for 15 of those 20 years. Once his loan was paid off, he didn't just spend the difference. He took the gap, about $4 grand a year, and put it into a low-cost index fund. Warren Buffett has said for decades that for almost everyone, the smartest investment is a low-cost index fund. Chris isn't a genius, he just listened. $4,000 a year for 15 years at the historical market average, about $87,000 by year 20. There's a quote from John Bogle, the man who invented the index fund. The miracle of compounding is overwhelmed by the tyranny of compounding costs. For Daniel, the lease payment was the tyranny. For Chris, the index fund was the miracle. Same income, different choice, 20 years apart, final scoreboard. Daniel, minus $130,000 spent, 0 owned, 0 invested. Net position, negative $130,000. Chris, minus $58,000 spent, 12,000 car, owned, 87,000 invested. Net position, positive $41,000. The gap between them, 20 years later, is just under $200,000. $200,000 from one decision made on a Saturday morning, repeated quietly for 2 decades. Let's come back to Chris and Daniel one last time. Same kitchen tables we visited earlier. Chris is sitting at his 20 years after that first quiet Tuesday when he realized the car was his. He's looking at an investment account worth $87,000 he never really thought about. He didn't get a raise to get here. He didn't take a second job. He just took the gap between leasing and buying and let it work for him while he slept. Daniel's at his own table, 15 years deeper into the same loop. He just signed lease number 6. His banking app shows no investments and a checking account that drains the first of every month. Same income, same age, same starting line. $200,000 apart. The difference wasn't intelligence, income, or luck. It was one decision made on a Saturday morning, repeated quietly for 2 decades. And here's what I want you to take from this. Because this isn't really a video about cars. Every big financial decision in your life works exactly the same way as this one. Cars, phones, mortgages, subscriptions, career moves. You won't feel the wrong choice in the moment. You'll just feel it 20 years from now when you look around and wonder where the money went. The dealer hands you a key. The phone company hands you a contract. The streaming service hands you a free trial that auto-renews. Each one feels small in the moment. None of them are small over a lifetime. The cheapest car you'll ever own is the one you stop buying every 3 years. The richest version of you is the one who finally noticed. So here's the practical version. If you're choosing between leasing and buying right now, and you're not in one of those 5 cases I mentioned, buy. Don't buy the most expensive car you can afford. Buy something reliable. Drive it for 12 to 15 years. Let the savings compound somewhere they can actually grow. And if you're already in a lease, don't panic. Finish it out. When it ends, don't sign another one. Buy a slightly used car with cash if you can. A 2 or 3-year-old Camry has already taken its biggest depreciation hit. You get the same reliability for 30% less. That's the move. It's boring. It's simple. Almost nobody does it, which is exactly why it works. Now I'm curious about something. What car decision are you facing right now? Or what did you sign in the past that you wish you could undo? Drop it in the comments. I read every one, and the most common ones turn into future videos on this channel. And if this helped you see this clearer, hit like. It really does help the channel get found by other people in your spot. If you're new here, subscribe. I run this kind of math on a different money decision every week. Next one might be the one that changes yours. Next week, I'm running the same kind of math on renting versus buying a house. And there's a number in that one that's going to break some hearts, because the standard advice on housing, renting is throwing money away, is wrong in ways nobody talks about. You're going to want to see this. I'll see you then.